Hi friends, today we are going to start working with some inequalities. You're used to using the words greater than or less than. You could also use words like at least or no more than or as much as, and we're going to start exploring all of those ideas in this next little bit. So in our first problem in your work for today, activity 1, the problem set up says that Taylon's mom told him he could spend no more than $10. No more than $10 at the arcade. And so first it's going to ask us to give some values for the amount that he could spend while he's at the arcade. So some of the values could be, well, if it's no more than $10, well, he could spend $2. He could spend $7. He could spend $9. All those are acceptable amounts for Taylon to spend at the arcade and still spend no more than $10. And then it asks in question B, what is the maximum amount that Taylon can spend at the arcade? Well, the maximum amount is the total amount he could spend without going over. And so how much does it say? It says no more than $10. So can he spend $10? Well, yeah, $10 isn't more than $10. $10 is $10. So the maximum amount would be $10. All of these are in dollars here, right? Okay, so then it also asks, what is the minimum amount Taylon can spend at the arcade? That's an interesting question because there's some semantics in there. Someone might say that the minimum amount he could spend is $0, and that seems like a reasonable minimum amount, or someone else might say the minimum amount is the first unit, because then if he's not spending. But let's go with 0 because semantics. Okay, so C is asking us to describe in words the range of dollar amounts that Taylon can spend. So in words, what is this range of amounts? So he could spend anywhere from, so he can spend any amount from 0 to $10. That seems to be a true statement based on this setup. In question D, it asks us to write an inequality to represent the amount A in dollars that Taylon can spend at the arcade. So we're going to write an inequality where A is the amount of money that Taylon can spend. Now A can be, it can be equal to 10, right? Like we said he can spend 10. So A, but it can also be less than 10, right? Can it be more than 10? Can this be 11? No. So if it could be more than 10, the alligator would want to eat it, right? But instead it's going to be less than 10. But if it was just this, then this would mean not as much as 10. Not quite up to 10. This is telling us no more than 10, so 10 is included in this amount for A. And so to show that, I'm going to show this right here. It's like half of an equal sign. It's like the bottom half of an equal sign. And so now that is showing us that A can be equal to or less than, and then my amount was $10. So 10. And now I've written an inequality to represent the amount that Taylon can spend at the arcade in terms of A. Let's look at E. It says create a number line diagram to represent the amount Taylon can spend at the arcade. Okay, so a number line. We know how to make number lines. So here's our number line. And we said our bottom amount was 0, so let's just put a 0 right here, because he's not going to go this way. He's not going to spend negative money at the arcade. And the top, the maximum amount that he can spend at the arcade is 10. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right there. That is $10. So now we have to make an inequality that shows 10 could be the number, but it could also be any of the numbers underneath 10. Right? So what I want to do is put a dot here at 10, because that's showing me the number where it is. And then I'm going to draw a line showing all the other numbers that it could possibly be. Just like that. Okay. Now, if my dot is just a circle like this, that means that this number is not included in the set of numbers that could satisfy this inequality. And so, my question to myself, does 10 satisfy this equality? Well, yes, inequality, pardon me. Yes, I know it does because of this little half equal sign here. A can equal 10. It can be less than 10 or it can equal 10. And so that means that I'm going to fill in my circle. The filled in circle means this dot is included. It counts. It's one of them. Now, is 0 one of them? Is 0 an amount that Talon can spend at the arcade? Well, yes. Talon could go to the arcade and just stare at the beautiful arcade games and not spend a quarter. And F asks us, or it says, Talon spent $8 at the arcade. Did he follow his mom's instructions? Well, let's look on our number line. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here's 8. Does 8 fall within our number line? Yes, it does. Let's look at our math statement. Could 8 be equal to or less than 10? Well, yes, 8 is less than 10. So, yes, 8 does fit the description of this inequality. Great job. Have fun today, guys.